Welcome, everybody. I'm assuming everybody is able to hear. Can somebody confirm?
Yes, I can hear. I think you're audible.
Yeah. So I'm just waiting for another few minutes so that more people join before we start the entire webinar. So there's a poll for everyone to fill in so that we appreciate who is attending. Please do fill the poll. Thank you. Yeah, let's go ahead and start. So we have with me Savitha, who is a partner and a lead consultant. She has almost 20 years of experience doing a lot of different things, including both online and offline. She's worked in investment banking to run an e-commerce company to she's actually been there with the major ones, but also others. And she has actually seen expertise in multiple formats there in all of these companies. And so we actually are going to hear from her how these expertise, how to recognize the expertise and be able to share it online in different formats. That's about Savitha. And then we will actually have Rohan talking to us. Rohan again has almost really transferring of the marketing processes, the sales and marketing processes online. So he's used a lot of different tools and worked with multiple industries to help them get these workflows in place so that a lot of time saving happens we end up not losing leads to human chance. So Rohan comes with that experience and is going to help us with practical examples of how to transfer the processes. He will actually be going through some use cases. So we'll actually have Rohan that experience knowledge, and then we will actually have a conversation with between us three and then open it up for the audience. So Savitha, please take over.
Thank you, Rishi, for the introduction. Thanks everyone who has joined on time. I would like to share a basic version of what we can do online and how you can transfer your expertise from your offline business to online. Because it's possible that a lot of you have started your businesses offline and you need to leverage digital to grow into new segments and new markets and even be visible to your current and future customers. So let me just share my initial presentation with you. So I am Savitha Peri and I have experience across several industries and also several formats. So I've worked in e-commerce, I've worked in digital marketing, and I've worked in offline industries in various roles. So I have a thorough understanding of businesses as well as different formats like expertise, how it works in offline world and in online world. So that is why I have decided to look at this topic today, which is how do you transfer your offline expertise to the digital space. Now, I would like to start with the first underlying basic reason why we should go digital. Why go digital? Usually businesses and entrepreneurs with a proven expertise attracts customers and sales and are and can be competitive. Therefore, proving your expertise in the market is essential to marketing, and usually this is done a lot better on digital, and digital can help you do this in a variety of ways. So how do you move from offline to online, and how does it actually help you? Okay, you can reach to a lot more audiences, you can amplify your reach, you can do a lot online to build authority in the subject matter that your business is in. You can also engage with your target customers and other stakeholders in a very meaningful way. And Actually, digital helps you reach new segments and geographies in a very flexible and easy way compared to an offline world. So there are several reasons why digital can help businesses. And this is my first summary. And secondly, what I wanted to speak about is if you're running a business, you must be saying, who is the expert here? Am I the expert? Is my company the expert? So knowledge, skills, and networks in your specific area of business, I think you already are an expert. And your expert is relevant to several new prospects, but possibly, you are known only in your current circles of colleagues and customers. There you can expand that. You may not be calling yourself an expert today. The way a business works, a B2B business works or a B2C business works, you may not be calling yourself an expert while you may be doing everything that an expert is doing. So if you project your expertise online, it is likely that a lot more people are able to discover you and your services and your products. So here is a basic description of how you transfer your expertise to digital space and how do you get started. So first thing is, I think we should define the niche in which you are operating, your company is operating. And this is different from the industry definition. I am in a particular industry, but within the industry, my company can do something very specific and very, very narrow area where we are the experts. So that definition is what is the starting point. And then once you have your definition in place, you create your online business profiles in different media and you optimize the profile using several keywords that are used in your industry that highlight your expertise and make sure that people at first glance are able to understand where you are coming from and what is your expertise. To that, to add more credibility, there is a lot of social that you can add, like testimonials from your current clients, any recognitions and awards, any mentions in social spaces. All these can be added to ensure that your expertise is understood and appreciated. The second part is how do you create content which can help you showcase your expertise. So this ideally involves doing research, listing topics that are of interest to your audience and where your expertise is visible, creating formats that are consumable. So, in offline world, you probably deal with brochures and pamphlets. Sometimes there could be a video that you might have created and showcase, presentations you make in conferences. But I think in digital, you can do a lot more in terms of how many formats you can use and capture attention and showcase in different ways. So here I have listed a few different ways in which the consumable formats are being used today. And thirdly, you can create events. So events help you reach out to a specific target audience, and you can focus on a specific topic you want to discuss or a product or service you want to showcase and give a time and space where people can actually be present live. So this example, this webinar today is an example of an event where we are reaching out to people and talking about a specific topic. And next is, while you get started in digital space and you create the right content, what helps you build the trust of any of the stakeholders you are reaching out to is being authentic, being regular, so messaging on a consistent basis, and being involved with your audience. So these are very important and I think if you have seen different social media profiles of various vendors or companies or experts, you see that you are attracted more to people who are very authentic and there is a regular messaging from them and someone who engages with you in a good way. Like if you ask questions, they are able to respond. Yeah. And if they give a comment, if you comment on something and the expert likes it, they come back and reply to you. So there are various ways of getting involved with your audience and making them feel that they're actually speaking to an expert and someone they can trust. Now, actually, once you create your content and the content is the right kind of content, how do you share your content? This is the distribution part of the content online. So I'm sure everyone is aware here that there are several channels available, right? Like LinkedIn, the FB, Insta, WhatsApp, YouTube, Google, several industry forums. These are all known to people. Of course, you will have your own websites and all. But what is more important is how do you identify the relevant channels for your business? Suppose you are a business that supplies beauty products. Possibly showcasing yourself on Instagram is a lot more important than being on industry forums. Suppose you are a niche IoT device manufacturer. It is possible that industry forums and very specific LinkedIn groups are more important to your business. So identifying the most relevant channels and then identifying other also important channels to proceed. In addition to public and social media groups, I think finding and affiliating with other industry experts, like maybe there are industry magazines which are online, there are bloggers, influencers who are in your industry. So these are people and places which are not necessarily the social media that we see, but relevant to your industry. So finding them and affiliating is one way to also reach out your content to those audiences, their audiences. You can also advertise. So one thing is you create content and social media, it is mostly free. You can put out your content and reach audiences, but you can also advertise to very specific and targeted segments online. So this is completely different from an offline way where if you advertise on radio or TV or newspapers, you usually broadcast to a very general audience. Whereas I think the need of the hour for small B2B businesses would be how do I target a small market segment and how do I actually pay only for that, instead of paying for the broadcast that reaches a very general audience. So digital really helps you advertise in a specific manner and also measure your success rate. Properly online, I think you can reach the right audiences and amplify your messaging. And then how can you be more productive? Going digital takes a lot of work in terms of being in the right places, identifying the right places, creating content, sharing your content, and all your results. There are a lot of tools that help you create different content formats. There are tools that help you engage with your customers and measure them, like CRM tools. And if you're on social media, each media platform gives you their own tools to work with your audience. Of them here right now, but saying that there are several tools available out there, and you actually need to go and find out which tools are relevant for your business. And the other thing of how you can be productive is once you've created content, there are several ways you can repurpose the same content. Suppose you have made a presentation to an online webinar or in on your social forums. You can convert it into a video. You can convert it into a carousel, a slides that people can see, so that the same message is made available to your audience across different media and across timelines. Now, I just wanted to showcase a few examples. So one is I just wanted to show an example of 𝐓𝐫 Dental. It's a chain of dental hospitals, which is a B2C segment. But what I wanted to showcase is how they are actually present in the digital space. The entire service is offered in an offline way. There is a dental clinic, usually, multiple clinics in a large city, and that is where the service is provided. However, if you see how they have presented themselves on social, I think that's very interesting. And then I would like to take you to a couple of examples on LinkedIn, which show how B2B businesses are also working in different spaces. So let me stop sharing this screen and go to the other one. Yeah, so this is as live as it gets. But I just wanted to make a point here. So if you search online, for 𝐓𝐫 Dental, okay, so first of all, these are the different kinds of searches that are happening. And secondly, if you see that There is their own website that comes up, and it has a lot of details of how you can work with them. And after that, you have where they are present socially, like there is Instagram, they are present on Twitter. Tracto is a platform which showcases different hospitals and doctors. So a dental clinic is, can be on Tracto. And then they have put some videos on YouTube. So one video is they're just talking about their journey so far. But there is another video that was very interesting, it's a clinic walkthrough. I just want to play this, using some time. Basically, this is a walkthrough of how the clinic looks, and this is the template that use every clinic of 𝐶𝐽 looks like this. And different areas, the sterilization room, the doctor's room, and and where the operations are carried out, operating. So I think this is a great way of showcasing your place. Now this is equally relevant for B2B or B2C. There are different ways in which you can showcase your business and what you do. And this is a location service, so you can put up locations online, where you are available, what are your timings, directions, and all this. So you can do this for your business. And you can be on, Just Dial is a place where it's a directory listing. So online directories, where whichever are relevant to you. And then of course, Facebook and LinkedIn. If you see 𝐶𝐽 Dental, LinkedIn is one of the last results that comes up. I think this is slightly less important to them because it's a B2C entity and targeting end consumers. But this is as far as I wanted to show about one B2C example. Now going to a B2B example, where I've taken a company that is into sustainable solutions. They provide carbon credit advisory. Now this is as B2B as it gets. Once we get away from 𝐶𝐽 Dental example, this is a highly B2B kind of an example. Now, if you see here, this is on LinkedIn. Now, this company is able to address a lot. It has 52 employees who are on LinkedIn. So, you can bring together all your current employees. There is an about section where you can talk about yourself. And then I would like to show some formats and posts that this company has put up for their audiences. So, they have done a project recently, so they are showcasing this. This is an industry report that has been, they have analyzed it, they have summarized it into a format that is easy to understand for a lot of their audience. And then this is a poll that they are running. I think the results are out here. So you can run an interesting poll to see what your audience thinks and what they're seeing. And this is about a particular service of theirs. So they are like, if you want to develop and monetize some projects, contact us. So you talk about your expertise, what service you want to, you highlight one service from your portfolio. So every post here talks about different aspects of their business. Some are sales or marketing, like telling people about the service. Some are about what they're doing on ground. So some are industry reports. So this is, they are using multiple formats and multiple ways to engage with their stakeholders. Right now, not everybody who's following this company may be customers, but over time this builds trust in the business, and it also then makes them first in recall when you need something like this. Then the third thing I just wanted to show you, and this is the last thing here, is if you look at agribusiness, I think some people who joined the webinar were talking about how do we do this in agribusiness. So this is a very general term that I'm using in LinkedIn and doing a search for agribusiness. And you can see that it is showing you people who talk about this agribusiness. There are many people here across the world. Then secondly, who are the people involved in agribusiness? Usually the results are in thousands. And then you can see different companies which are in this industry. What are the jobs available in this industry? And what are the groups available? I think groups and events, these are very powerful ways to actually, reach out your message to relevant industry groups. I think LinkedIn by far is the leader in terms of reaching out to B2B audiences. And as you can see, there is a group for ag tech, there is an Ivory Coast group, there is an Africa agribusiness platform, and there is some event happening in Africa which you can attend. And I think post-COVID, a lot of events will be both online and offline together. So you can attend events, you can also create events. So this is where I would like to stop. I think these are sufficient examples to say how you can be present online, what can be done online, and actually, there is a lot of data and analytics that goes behind this, which I have not shared here, because this is a very basic and introductory kind of a webinar that we are having today. Thank you, Rishi.
Yeah, thanks, Savitha. I would like now Rohan to share his experience and knowledge. Rohan, over to you.
Thank you, Rishi. Thank you, Savitha, for that insightful information. First of all, mic check. Everybody can hear me properly? Okay, cool. So before we begin, brief, while Rishi did mention about what I've been doing, but I'll just briefly give my introduction once again. So I've been working for last 2 decades in digital marketing, to be very specific. And in digital, I mean, I've prior to working in digital marketing during this tenure of 2 decades, I've actually also worked in sales for a certain amount of time, before which I decided to make a career in digital marketing. And even in digital, my area of expertise, or where I have gone to in translating marketing processes using automation and technology, is primarily the reason I used to work on a very specific aspect of digital marketing, which was related to performance or outcome-based marketing. Whatever brands that we are working for, like whether I was working with a B2C startup, the agenda was that, what is that you're doing? Whatever campaigns or whatever marketing channels that we are leveraging, what is it delivering in terms of outcomes or actionable results, right? In that we had to work a lot on the performance oriented marketing. I developed an expertise in MarTech, or marketing technology as we call it. And for last 16 years, this is what I've been doing. I've been working with organizations, both, Fortune, non-Fortune companies, helping them build their marketing and sales stack, where, marketing and sales teams can work cohesively with each other. And, we could achieve more with lesser number of people. All right. So that's about me. So before we move ahead, I have a quick poll that I actually wanted to do with all of you. Let me know if everybody can see my screen. Okay, let me just hide this. Okay, can everybody go to this code 67483, and there's a question over there, the same one which you see on my screen. Can you answer that, everybody, from the options that are given there? Do you want me? Well, I also post this in the. Okay, I have a response that somebody is saying core and above emails. Interesting.
3418. That's where I think it's taking more time. Just wanted to do this. 67483418.
Yeah. So you'll have to go onto the site and enter the code. So yeah, so bottom line, a lot of emails getting exchanged, before this. Okay, cool. Let's move on to the next poll. Okay, again over here, random order. I see somebody has mentioned that they've used a score-based mechanism. That is good, right? So the purpose of why I'm bringing up this question is that, let me just get to my presentation. What I've seen over the, my experience of in last 15, 16 years, where I've been working with the sales and marketing teams all across. Behaviors, buying cycles have changed considerably, right? You know, there was a point of time when I started my career way back in 2003, 2004, where how typically a B2B organization or into B2C space, they had a division called institutional sales, where they used to sell to institutional institutions, which was something similar to, managing key accounts, right? So typically what happened used to happen over here, the common that everybody followed was basically throw as many bodies as possible to increase sales, right? If you're planning to grow your region or your territory by, let's say, by, let's say, 12%, 25%, the best way, or I've seen regional managers just taking a call of hiring more and more bodies, right? And a typical scenario in this would work like I actually started as a frontline seller, so I was the lowest line of sale. So basically doing those cold calls, doing that, you know door to door selling, even even to businesses, going door to door and trying to get appointments for us, right? That is typically was what was the scenario, but it changed completely. Now, with the information overload that you see in this internet age, right? There are certain key statistics that I would like to share, that now, if you see people who are actually selling, you ask them, they're not spending more than 25%, at max 35% of their time actually selling to people. By that, I mean talking with them, conversing with them. That is, that is the total time they're actually spending doing that. And on the other side, if you ask, even buyers who are buying services or buying products, and I'm not just talking about in context of B2B, but also in terms of at times in B2C sales also, that these customers or these buyers are only spending 15% of their time. Like 15% of that is gone into talking to vendors, right? This was way back. If I compare it with scenarios in the past, the procurement teams were deeply involved in having conversation with vendors, to the level of doing physical assessments, to doing a lot of different things in terms of doing vendor validations, but whether it was diligence in terms of looking at their credentials in the form of financials, a lot of these things like that. That is not in the B2C, but also in the B2C, how it works, that customers have done so much research online with that plethora of content that they get from you, from your competitors, from influencers, from multitude of spaces, that they actually know. I mean, when they're having these conversations with the ultimate vendors, they either have made their decisions, or they are actually at a stage, I would say, in the middle funnel or close to bottom funnel, when they are reaching out in the market and sending out their inquiries to different people. So this is exactly how buying has changed a little bit. I mean, if you compare it with the age of the past, that was always a scenario like, where procurement teams would actually go out and reach out, look for sources online, go to portals like IndiaMart or Just Dial or Sulekhas of the world, call 5 to 6 different vendors, call them for the initial meeting, understand things from them, because at that point of time, the content deluge was not there. And that is predominantly why the buying cycle has changed completely. Now, in this whole scenario, while I'm talking about the changes in sales and marketing, what are the key trends that are actually bringing technology into this whole revolution? So first of all, since 2012, there is this concept of revenue marketing that has come into play. So even if you go online, there are some refer to as lead to revenue marketing. This is also called revenue marketing. So what essentially was that before 2012, marketing, whether in B2C scenario or B2B scenarios, was considered as a cost center. What is their job? Paisa leke, they have to do advertising. I mean, they do advertisements on radio, they do advertisements in print, and that is what they do. Like, just, go out there, broadcast across the board. And there was no way to measure what is the outcome coming out of it. Like, if you're doing a newspaper advertisement, what is it that you're getting in return? How many people actually saw that newspaper advertisement? How many inquiries came in through that? Somebody walked into a store and bought something. Is it something which was the impact of that particular advertisement? So there was no way, that revenue could be tracked. But with the advent of the digital, what happened that slowly the marketing's KPI moved away from no longer that, how many people know about the brand or how many impressions that you're getting or all of that stuff. It's more importantly becoming, whether in B2C or B2B, what is direct or indirect contribution of marketing into the revenue pipeline, right? Secondly, AI, machine learning, data, we've been hearing a lot about it. So how could marketing be, not part of it? So with advent of this, what has happened is that, again, this is also because of the performance marketing initiatives that, that have come into fore, that marketing or sales has become more and more precision led. That means people are not doing, so in our terminology at one point of time, when I started my career in digital marketing, we used to call it spray and pray. So basically what that spray and pray meant was basically harvesting email addresses across the board, right? And just do email, SMS blasts and just pray that some of these convert into customers or inquiries for us, right? Which is no longer the case, with the firewalls coming into place. More and more, people are getting paranoid about privacy. So these things are impacting, your messages are not getting delivered, or emails. I mean, if you look at typical B2C behavior right now, we've seen that, as compared to how emails used to get 40-50% open rates at one point of time, that has drastically dropped down to around 15%, 18% now. So those kind of campaigns no longer work. So it's and of course, advertising as a platform is always expensive as compared to, emails or SMS. So how do you be cost effective? That is where your database tools comes in, which allow you to do more precision based targeting, whether in B2C context or B2B context, right? Social selling. Now, this is one thing that is always confused, like, that we are talking about selling through social media platforms. No, it's not about that. So basically, people buy from, whether in B2B context or B2C context, people buy from people who they trust or who they believe. So even if as a brand, you need to personify yourself and say, what is it inside you, or what do you communicate to your audience that people start trusting you. So basically, social selling is a combination of, fostering that engagements with your audience so that that trust and credibility is there, and somebody is willing to give your money or reach out to you. Even in context of B2B sales, people reach out to you. They are very paranoid about the fact that, if I'm having a conversation with this person, am I sure that, he's not going to waste my time, right? I am not going to get into a conversation where it's completely, he's not understanding my requirement. Or even for that matter of fact, if that person has offered to do a free POC, right? Is that POC going to be viable for me, or it's going to be a waste of time, because time is of essence. So that is another thing. Personalization. I think so. Everybody might have heard about, reading the blogs online. You know, this has been talked about time and again. Personalization, hyper personalization. The data age is all about personalization, and this is true not only for B2C but also for B2B. Like for example, emails or messages or any kind of advertising campaign that you do at a personalized level. Like, for example, if you have that kind of intelligence on customer accounts, right? I'm talking about B2B marketing, like customer accounts, that what platform are they working? What technology platform that they use? Like, for example, when I used to work for enterprise companies, where we used to target 1 billion plus accounts in North America for technology services, right? Now, I'm just going to talk random concepts. I'm going to just talk randomly about, oh, we do spectacular customer experiences. Oh, we do, we build data warehouses that are, that can take terabytes of data, right? That is what every other vendor is going to say, right? How do you make your message or your pitch different from that? Like, if I am able to have that intelligence that this particular customer that we are talking about, they are pro AWS, they have a CRM in the form of Salesforce, and then, clubbing my accounts like those, like which are those accounts where, we have those same combinations. So accordingly build a campaign which is personalized, which focuses on them, right? So this is exactly the kind of personalization that even B2C, B2B are expecting. To give you some statistics, we have seen 100% increase in ROI when we are delivering, personalized campaigns in B2C context, whether it is in the form of form fills or it is in the form of inquiries or anything. Personalization is the need of the hour right now, right? Fifth and most important, I think so in B2C, again, mostly people talk a lot about digital experiences, but in B2B, again, where you are selling high ticket items, high value items, this convergence of physical and digital worlds is very important. Like, for example, if you met somebody at an event, right? Translating that experience of what you've conversed or that communication into the digital communications with them, whether it is personalized one-on-one communication or whether you're doing mass communication, right? That experience is very important, right? Like in B2B context, if I have to give an example, we do a lot of gifting, right? People who we have conversations with. Now, how do you put an orchestration mechanism in place which does this automated for you? You had a conversation, meeting with somebody at an event, a follow-up meeting, that person's birthday is there, or there's some special event in his life. You've collected that information. How do you ensure? I mean, you are not, let's say if you are following up with 200, 300 leads, right? Or you have got like hundreds of customers to work with. How do you, make sure that this thing gets done? Like, that experience is delivered to your customer, right? This is exactly automation solves this problem for you. And lastly, most important, this is the age of ubiquity. I think so. This is, everybody must have heard about it. Or, when you're buying, you typically tend to buy new products or new services where you've seen those campaigns or where you've seen their messages time and again on different channels, right? You might have seen their ad for the first time on Instagram, or let's say on second time on Facebook, third time, or while surfing through website, and maybe on the fourth go, when they have sent you an email or an SMS, you've gone ahead and bought that product or activated or installed that app. So this is what is ubiquity all about, because now the research says, earlier people needed to hear about you at least 5 times before they bought or installed your app. Now this has gone considerably to 8 times. So in this context, ubiquity with that consistent visual, that consistent messaging is very, very important to deliver that micro moments of growth, which ultimately lead to conversion, right? So this is key trends that are shaping the digital world. Now, Moving on to why marketing automation, how it helps. Okay. So I've given you a couple of examples. One of the key areas that marketing automation is extremely beneficial is on your lead management and lead acceleration. Like for example, somebody mentioned that they do at least three to four calls, 3 to 4 emails are just exchanged in order to understand what is the timing for meeting, right? Moreover, I saw that, in the events poll also, when you're doing, let's say like a webinar like this, or if you're going to a trade show or an event, anything of that sort, right? You get a long, complete list of leads. Now, typically I've seen in my experience that people, how would they prioritize which is the largest account in this? Let's start calling up with that. The second, maybe the whatever order the list has been supplied to you, which might be alphabetical in order, or it is on the basis of how people have come into the event, which is first in, first out. So that is typically the scenario. And a lot of times sales people have lost conversations or lost deals because they did not strike a conversation with the person at the right moment at the right time. Now, this is where the entire acceleration and lead management comes into the picture. There are automated processes in the form of lead nurturing cycles, lead processing cycles, and there are lead qualification scoring mechanisms on the basis of which you can scientifically and statistically prioritize your calls, prioritize your follow-ups, which ensures that the opportunity is not lost. And more importantly, you don't have to be constantly on top of communicating with the customers, right? Whether it is the follow-up part of it, like for example, right from the point that there's another thing that, the advent of social media has brought with us is patience. We've kind of lost patience. I think so. A lot of us happens with us that we fill out a form. Our expectation is that somebody has to answer me right away, and also that is, if you look at from a buyer side point of view, the lead is hot at that point of time, right? If you are able to respond instantly to that, at least that ensures that the person is walking away with a positive experience, right? So how is that possible? Like if you have a chat bot or anything of that sort, that is only possible if you have automation in place, because that ensures 24/7 whenever a customer is reaching out to you, at least you've initiated a thread of communication. And that is exactly what happens in journey automation also. Like for example, we've seen a lot of times that customers visiting websites, right? They have some intent. Let's say they are 30, 40, 50% intent, maybe not 80, 90% intent right now, right? They might have some queries or they have some questions, right? It's similar to, if I have to give an analogy, people walking by, just looking at some gadgets inside a chroma or somewhere, right? Until unless a person comes and asks, sir, what is it that you're looking for? And, then they start to open. So things like these, like onboarding. So let's say you have a customer who's been onboarded, the post-sales support, all of this can be automated. And more importantly, with the powerful omni-channel communication, you can ensure that, all of, whether the customer is communicating with you on social media or on email or SMS or WhatsApp or any kind of mechanism that they're using, the journey does not break at any point of time. That remains seamless and automated, right? The example of dynamic content that I gave you right now, you can do personalization at scale using this. Let's say you have like in a tech example I've given, let's say you are building a campaign on the basis of a combination of cloud, CRM, a web analytics tool, right? So you can build a single landing page for that. And on the basis of what information your marketing automation platform already has about that account, the content can change dynamically for those sections, right? Which if you look at it, when personalization was not there with tools like this, what we call these is low code tools. What we used to do is we used to hard code this, like, for specific accounts, like for these 10 accounts where we know this is the combination of tool set that they use, this is specific landing page for that. So let's say if we had 10 different combinations, we had to make 10 different landing pages of that sort, which is now no longer the case, right? More importantly, like I mentioned right now, omni-channel communication. Also, if I have a webinar tool like this or any other, third-party tool that helps or augments my marketing process, marketing automations have an open API. You can seamlessly flow data between the two systems. What that does is that also makes your, understanding your customers' journey, your customers. So a lot of times it happens because your Facebook and your email marketing do not talk to each other. So you never know whether this customer, before actually becoming a lead or a purchase from you, where has he come from? Did he come from Google Ads? Did he come from Facebook? What was his journey like? Like, did he first see my ad on Instagram? Then he saw my Google AdWords. Then, he actually signed up for a demo. Then we send up like, 3-4 different emails. After that, he joined a webinar and then he became. So that single source of growth is something that only a marketing automation can offer because of its rich integration. It can give you that complete journey, that complete digital footprint of your customers, right? More importantly, automation always comes with these benefits. You don't require more number of people to build these journeys. Like, these automations are low code. You don't require developers, any marketer or any person who has a basic understanding of using computers. These, they have a drag and drop environment. You can do that. And more importantly, because of all this, whatever you want to do to scale, like, you want to add new marketing processes, you can do that easily. All right. So let's come to some examples. Okay. So I'll rush through this quickly. So this is a typical example that we use in marketing. Like, let's say if you have a lead magnet of some sort in the form of ebook or something, this is how you actually build it on a marketing automation platform. You can see that somebody joins, a list, you send an email.
The screen has not changed, Rohan. Sorry.
Okay, hold on. Let me know if everybody can see now. Can you see?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So this is typical example of, a very basic level of nurturing that you can do for people who consume your content or your, so this basically is on automation sort of a thing. So this leads get nurtured. You can put a lead scoring mechanism in place. So if you're seeing a constant level of engagement with that particular prospect, that is the time that actually your salespeople can then reach out to them and start building a more deeper engagement with them, more one-on-one conversation, which again, what we talked about, the social selling aspect of it, right? This is another example of, if you are running a SaaS application, right? How do you onboard a customer? So this is typically a flow of, a journey automation of onboarding. So when you are like selling a SaaS application, which is built for, let's say, small size customers, small ticket customers, right? What happens in enterprise customers who go for a managed package where they are paying a premium, they get a more one-to-one personalization. Like their onboarding is typically done by a consultant. Like, let's say, if you look at HubSpot, I'm just giving an example from the MarTech space itself. HubSpot charges an onboarding fees of $800 for onboarding you. So basically, this whole journey of teaching you how to use HubSpot, they charge you a premium for that. Whereas if you compare it with something like a software tool called Keep, which spelled as Keap, or if you go with something like an Active Campaign, there they don't have. I mean, if you're going for a managed package, you pay a premium for onboarding. But if you want to do it on your own, right? So there they actually use a series like this, a sequence like this, where they update, and on the basis of what task you have executed. Like, let's say, they ask me to whitelist few IPs to start with, some changes that I have to make in the server. So based on each of these tasks that I've executed, I start getting the next email. If I'm not executed any particular task, they'll send me reminder emails for that. So this complete journey can be automated without people actually going back to particular system and querying, okay, look, how many people have onboarded, let's do this. What this can also happen is that, your customer success team or people can actually focus on more priority clients, like people who've onboarded themselves on their own, who are a heavy user of the system. A lot of companies do that, like, analyzing this data of people who are heavy users, trying to sell them, upsell them, or cross-sell them more premium products or important products to them, right? So this is another example of how, with the help of data and automation, you can do a focus selling, that you don't have to reach out to all, but because of this data, that the probability of selling to these people is going to be higher and better. And again, that translates into that you don't need more people to actually execute that task. You can work with lesser number of people to work, right? The example that I showed you was talking about, like, you want to send gifts, emails, or anything of that sort. You can set up campaigns like this if you have collected data about people's anniversary, birth dates, or key events like that, their work anniversary or anything of that sort. All right. So those were some examples of, how do you create a linear or a simple workflows. As you can see, this is an example of an omni-channel conversation, where you can see I have campaigns in the form of display banners, web push notifications that can be replaced if if your CRM or your marketing automation platform has got some things, communication in the form of SMS or WhatsApp, right? You can leverage that and push communications through this. So fundamentally, whatever sales processes that you have in place, which is a combination of sales and marketing process, which are about building or fostering relationships, your marketing automation can actually take care of that with ease. So all you have to do is basically build that logic and translate that. And more importantly, that logic has to be supported by marketing content, right? So pick those up, combine them together, translate that into an actionable, workflow like this. And you can see that, with lesser people, like 1-2 sales force, you are able to achieve at least 5x, 6x growth out of it, because you have an organized and organized system in place that is driven by data, and that tells you, that also gives you a certain level of predictability, that in order to achieve this quota, this number of leads that I want to get, or this number of annual sales that I want to get, this is the number I have to hit at the top of the funnel. And that is how I will get to a point where I am getting 5 new customers, 10 new customers, 30 new customers, because that predictability with the help of a marketing automation is in place for you. All right. So that brings me to an end of, this session. So yes, over to you, Rishi.
Hey, thanks, Rohan, for that in-depth. I think you tried to cover a lot of examples, and especially given the preview of how it used to be before the automation was happening. Thanks for that. We have Rajiv, who has raised a hand. I just want his question to be there, to be heard. Let me just... Vaishali, how can we enable Rajiv to talk? Yeah, Rajiv, you can talk.
Yeah, thank you, first of all, for organizing this event. We found it to be very insightful. The reason for raising the hand was to mention that we missed out on few of the slides, which you later clarified. It would be interesting, having said this, how the the marketing campaigns can move to the next level of engagement in a B2B, if there is a separate workshop that you intend to make, we'll be more than happy to participate and also see how to associate.
Yeah. Hey, thanks, Rajiv, for that feedback. Definitely, I think we will try to handle that in the next coming webinars. Because, I mean, what we were trying to really set the stage for getting the basics in place. Because a lot of the people that we see, we talk to, actually happen to appreciate their expertise, but they're not able to understand. They're not really finding ways to transfer that online. They're actually able to generate leads offline, but they are not able to capture. So some of the examples that Rohan said, which is, you go to a conference, you have like, you've met obviously 10 people. First thing is, we are not advertising that we're going to an event online, which actually improves your chances of meeting the right client. Second, even if we meet, let's say, a lot of people, we know that there are these 10 people that could actually be a potential leads. So how do we transfer that online so that, we're able to follow up and all that? So few of these things were actually wanted to cover. The second thing that we wanted to really get in place was the content marketing part. One of the things that we see across board, all the B2B guys struggling, is transferring that expertise. So we've actually tried to give examples of, how do you, let's say, you can create a small about us, you can create a small product video, a quick way. And there's so many tools that have actually come up which make it easier. You can just capture your screenshots of the product and then show it. You can actually write down, whatever presentation you've been giving to the offline audience, you could actually convert it into a simple carousel using a tool like Canva. So those are the things that we really wanted to enable and, tell the audience. Thanks for that feedback, Rajiv. And anybody else that has questions? I would like to conclude this with only, one thing, which is, Rohan, can you help me understand, give me a simple tool that you think somebody who has a small team can actually use in their operations?
Simple. Okay. I think so. To begin with, somebody can start working with 𝐴ctiveCampaign itself. I've found that tool to be relatively simpler and easy to use. I mean, okay, now I'll give you separate in terms of B2B or B2C. Okay, so if you are doing a B2B kind of an environment, I think so 𝐴ctiveCampaign or MailChimp is kind of the basic automation tool that you can start with. But if you're looking for B2C, I think so the best tools, I mean B2C or an e-commerce business, one of the best tools that I found is a platform called Omnisend or a tool called Drip. Those are kind of very, very basic, not a lot of, advanced features, but to get these customer journeys right, you can actually use those.
Yeah, sure. And so that really helps, because I think what I've seen is the problem is with the inertia. You're really stuck, you don't know how to do it. So I think the starting point really helps. Savitha, can you help me understand, some tools that you would suggest for this expertise transfer? I know Canva is one of them. What do you use, internally in your own organization to capture and transfer the expertise? You're on mute.
Okay. So, we actually, because we are a digital agency, we have a team that works on slightly more advanced tools to create different, formats of content. There are tools for blogging, for podcasts, for video creation, but the ones that we use in our agency are slightly more advanced, because our whole team is geared towards creating content. And if we are talking about a B2B company that wants to do things on its own, I think a lot of social media offer their own tools. Like if you're on LinkedIn, there is you can upgrade to the Sales Navigator and start tracking your leads using that tool. So the social media company itself is giving you tools to run your ads or run your campaigns, or track your engagement with your audience. So that could be a very simple starting place. So whether it's Facebook or Meta, any of the Meta channels or LinkedIn or YouTube, I think the first thing you can do is just look at the tools that are provided by them. I think once you are comfortable using those and then you are able to, get insights from what data they are providing, you can go forward and look at maybe more advanced tools which help you integrate all these different channels, or explore the same channel in a much more depth. So that's how I would suggest progressing in terms of tracking your viewers and engagement. When it comes to creating content, again, I think there are very basic tools like you mentioned, like Canva and all, or there could be a lot more advanced tools which are used mostly by designers and writers.
Thanks for that. I think, yeah, you're right. There's so many social media tools are giving so many tools, and also so I see people using like CapCut also, which are apps, actually mobile apps that are actually helping capture a lot of things. So thanks for that. Unless there are more questions, I would like to conclude this webinar. Thanks everybody. Thanks Rohan. Thanks Savitha for participating, and really look forward to all the others also to contribute. You would actually be getting an email with the content and the recorded video also of this, and there's a small survey that Vaishali is going to conduct before you guys leave. Please fill that up. Thank you very much. Have a great day and a great weekend. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great weekend ahead.
Have a good week.
Bye.